Welcome to video 63 in series 3, and in this video I'm going to write the item set layer script. Okay, so the item set layer script is pretty much going to control what the layer of the item is when it's been thrown. So let me just write here, item set layer. So for example, currently the blocks, you can see them going through stuff when you're holding them. So all I'm going to do is to set anything that's picked up to the weapon layer, pretty much, and then anything that's thrown to the item layer. But I'll give it a bit of flexibility so that I can define what those layers are. Okay, so with variables, private item master, public string item throw layer, public string item pickup layer. Alright, and I won't need update and start. I'll need a couple of other methods as well. Void set item to throw layer, void set item to pickup layer, void set layer on enable, and finally a void set layer. And this will take in transform, I'll just call it tform, and also string the item layer name. Alright, so set initial references. In there I'll just simply say item master is get component item master. Make sure to call that in on enable, set initial references. I'll also make sure to call set layer on enable. You'll see what that's for in just a moment. And while I'm here, I'll also set my subscriptions, so event object pickup plus equal a set item to pickup layer. Copy that, paste it over, unsubscribe. Once again, this time event object throw, and it'll be a set item to throw layer. Okay, so that sort of stuff is done. We'll jump over to set layer, and I'll say here that the transform, or rather tform dot game object dot layer is equal to layer mask dot name to layer, and the name of the layer is item layer name. Okay, so that will set the supplied game objects layer. Now I want to access all of the children and set their layer to the same as well. So I will use for each transform child in tform, and I will simply call the same method again, set layer, and its child is the transform to supply and item layer name. And this will go through all descendants. So, well, just simply because child is simply only the next level down, so if you iterate like this, you're only accessing this next set of children. You're not getting the grandchildren and so on in the tree. But if you do this sort of method call, then you'll capture everything nice and quickly as well. Alright, so that's the setting of the layer. Now I have to do a few checks, just some sanity checks here. So I'm going to say if item pickup layer is an empty string, then it's not been defined in the inspector. I'm just going to give it a default value. So I'm going to say that it is equal to, for example, item. Now, something to just note, of course, if you as a developer haven't defined that layer, item, in your editor, you will get an error in Unity when you play the game. And so that's just telling you that you need to define that layer. That's all. Okay, the next one, if item throw layer is empty string, same sort of thing, item throw layer item. I will also check that, for example, if you placed, well, if you haven't defined what the layer should be, then it's going to be automatically assigned when the game object is enabled. So I'll check here as well that if the tag, so if transform .root compare tag, so if this game object is currently on the player, then set it to the pickup, set the layer to the pickup layer, which means that it's on the player. Okay, so transform.root.compare tag, and that tag is references, so references dot player tag. There we go. If that is the case, then transform, or rather, just set it to, so set item to pickup layer. Okay, so that means this is on the player, and it should be set to the pickup layer, which in my case I will generally set to just weapon, because I have a weapon camera. It only looks at stuff that has the weapon layer, and those objects will always appear in front of other objects with other layers, because that camera has a higher depth order. Okay, which you learnt about in the first chapter. Okay, now if that's not the case, else, then set item to throw layer. So this will just set up the item by default, depending on whether it's on the player or not. And then coming back here, this is where I'll just say set layer, transform, and if it's to throw layer, then it's just simply item throw layer. There we go. And then I'll just copy this from the pickup layer and just change that to item pickup layer. Alright, and I'll just go through quickly. Just make sure that it looks all okay, and it certainly seems to. So I believe my job is done. Okay, so I'll jump back to Unity, go to the items, drag on the new script, item set layer. I will define the throw layer as item, and the pickup layer as weapon. Okay, good. I'll just save that, hit play, jump in. Now let's have a look. What is throwing block? There you go. You can see the weapon, the layer is weapon. So if I jump back in, yep, it doesn't go through stuff anymore. You can see in the scene view it passing through the floor, but I can't see that because of the camera order. So that is working perfectly. Once again, this object too, let me move to the other side because of the color. There you can see it's not passing through in the game view. In the scene view you can see that is so. And once again here you can see that the item that we're holding in our hands appears in front of the item on the floor, which is excellent. So perfect, our layers are working. Okay, so that's it for this video. Still more work to do. Anyway, thanks for watching and see you in the next video.